Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. We had a family situation, so you are having a sub. The first thing we're going to be doing today is we are going to be adding to our Unit 4 notes. Once we have finished our PowerPoint for today, your Unit 4 notes will be completed, and you can turn them in as we move on into World War II. So go ahead and take a moment, pull up your Unit 4 notes so you can add to them. Once I start sharing the PowerPoint, you'll be able to hear me, but you won't be able to see me. And then the last thing we're going to be doing today is we are going to be doing a crossword puzzle. So make sure you change your status for your sub. Let's change our status to a thumbs up once you have your Unit 4 notes so that they know that they can move forward and continue. So like I said, as soon as I pull up the PowerPoint, you won't be able to see me anymore, but you'll still be able to hear me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, finishing up our presentation on the Great Depression. So as we've already talked about multiple times, all of these had factors that began way before the 1930s. We talked about all of the things that led into World War I, from imperialism. This is the time period of the 1920s to the 1930s, which is that era between World War I and World War II. So here are our conflicts and what is going on. The Great Depression. Global interaction may be caused by conflict. Forces of imperialism, nationalism, militarism, and geopolitical alliances taken to the extreme can lead to international conflicts. Nationalism and the quest for power are often underlying causes for war. Conflict occurs when compromise over land, national identity, colonial possessions is no longer an option between those in authority and those that they serve. And we talked about this all the way since imperialism. It seems like we have not learned the lessons from the past yet. Causes of the Great Depression. Economic prosperity of the 1920s had underlying cracks. Overproductions of goods post-war. Mining and lumbering demand falls post-war. Railroads have trouble competing. Overproduction by farms and falling prices. Remember, we overproduced goods during World War I. Now these goods during our post-war era are not being sold on the market for the same price. The prices are falling. It is cheaper for the farmers to let the produce, let their harvest just drop on the ground rather than paying for someone to harvest the crops, pack it, put it on a train to get it to the markets and sell it because they're not making any money. The renewed tariff, remember we had the Hawley-Smoot tariff, uneven distributions of income. We still have that small percentage of the population who are making millions of dollars where the majority are not, and over 25% of the population are unemployed. There are no banking regulations. Remember, many of the banks have failed, taking all of your savings, playing it on the stock market, which has caused all kinds of chaos, people storming the banks trying to get their money back. And unfortunately, many of these banks are going to fail in the United States, and then it's going to have a horrible effect all over the entire world. Hoover's election. In 1928, Herbert Hoover becomes the President of the United States. He promised 2 cars in every garage and 2 chickens in every pot. Obviously, this is not going to happen. People are going to become very unhappy when they lose their farms, when they lose their houses. They start building makeshift house wherever they can, which become known as shanty towns, and we call them Hoovervilles. Laissez-faire. Remember, this is the policy to keep your hands out of the economy. The government should not get involved. And the Republican Party seriously believed that the government should not get involved in the economy, which this was a really bad move, especially when people were struggling so desperately for some kind of change and to help them out of the situation they were in. Steps into seemingly prosperous economy. They predicted the end of poverty, which did not happen. The stock market crashed. Remember, this is October 29th, Tuesday, Black Tuesday. This is when the stock market crashes. It seemed like the economy would grow forever. Stock prices were overinflated. Companies were overvalued from what they were really worth. There was lack of oversight. People were speculating on the market, buying stocks on a chance of a quick profit, and ignoring the risks of these speculations. They were also buying on margin, buying stock on credit. So they would put a small percentage down. They would get a loan from their employer or from a bank or someone they knew. Then they would have to make those payments back plus interest, hoping that they were going to make so much money it wouldn't make a difference anyway. But in reality, they were in serious dire straits. The stock market crashed. September of the 29s, the markets finally turned down. Panic selling begins, and October 29th, 1929, massive stock sells off. The stock market crashes, which becomes known as Black Tuesday. Mid-November, stocks had lost $30 billion in value. This is going to trigger the beginning of the Great Depression. Panicked Americans make a run on the banks to withdraw their funds. Some of the people who went to the banks found that the banks were already closed down. Many couldn't get their money because the money that they had given to the bank had also invested in the stock market. By 1933, 11,000 banks had failed. Unemployment hits 25%. Rural areas are hit the hardest. Foreclosures of farms, and we have the environmental disaster known as the Dust Bowl hit at the exact same time. Lives were devastated. Shanty towns emerged as people lose their homes. These shanty towns, as I said, were nicknamed Hoovervilles. They were on empty lots. They were in public parks. They were on the sides of the roads, creating makeshift homes for the individuals who were struggling. Soup kitchens and bread lines provided a small amount of relief. Women and children and minorities suffered even more, mostly because men, unable to deal with the situation, took off and started roaming the roads. Men searched for work, the great movement around the nation, and because of the Dust Bowl, we have lots of people from the panhandle regions of Oklahoma and others who are moving to California. This is portrayed in Steinbeck's book of Mice and Men, and then eventually The Grapes of Wrath. Tremendous psychological effects. We had suicide, depression, the value of saving and hard work, which are all going to increase. And this is our iconic image of Migrant Mother done by Dorothea Lange. We've looked at several of her photographs already. And this is an image of a Chicago soup kitchen, lines and lines and miles long, trying to get a bowl of soup because this may be the only food a man could get for the day while he's out searching for work, trying to find a job. This is an image of a California Okie family in 1936. These are the individuals who came from Oklahoma. You can see the house that they had, the clothing that they were wearing, barefoot, pretty destitute. And this is what was coming to California because the situation was so bad where they were and they felt there were no opportunities left for them to try and stay. Hoover's failures. Hoover's solution was rugged individualism. He gave no direct relief to the people. He established the Reconstruction Finance Corporation to loan money to businesses as a trickle-down theory. He also stated 2 families in every garage. This is where we came up with Hoovervilles. You can make do with what you have. And again, remember him being completely out of touch with what was going on with the people as he still dressed up in his best clothes to go down for dinner every night. The Bonus Army. In 1932, thousands of World War veterans marched on Washington demanding payment for wartime services, known as the Bonus Army. What happened was they were told that they were going to be given a bonus surviving World War I, but they weren't going to be getting that payment until a date way later in the future. And they wanted their money now, especially because of the hardships that they were going through. Because of economic hardships, they wanted the payment immediately instead of 1945 when it was the agreed upon date. Hoover sent in military to break up the camp of protesters. Violence ensued. The Bonus Army was gassed. Children were killed and injured. Hoover, already struggling, is ruined politically because of this move. And here's a picture of many of the individuals who were storming the Capitol, wanting to receive their money now. These are images of the police and the guard attacking these civil protesters. Buildings and shanty towns that are being put on fire, being put out. The election of 1932. Democrats are almost guaranteed victory. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a New York governor, easily wins. He pledges a New Deal for the American people, and the Democrats take control of Congress in 1930. Now, again, I'm emphasizing the U.S., but the Great Depression begins here. It starts to recover here, and this is going to have an effect all over the world. Every country is going to be affected by the Great Depression, starting with the United States, getting more severe across the world, specifically in Germany and Austria. And once the New Deal begins, we start to see relief, and we begin seeing relief in all of these European countries as well. The election of 1932. Hoover remains as a lame duck until March. That means because we don't have a changeover in 1930s of the new presidency, even though the elections are in November, until March. So we've moved that up, that the lame duck period is no longer around. So people are going to take over the presidency in January rather than in March. And during this time period, when Hoover is still in the White House, nothing is getting done because he knows, what's the point? I'm leaving in March anyway. So from January, or let's say from November until March, because the new president hasn't taken over, people are still going to be suffering. The 20th Amendment passed as a result, changes of the inaugural date. So instead of having a change of the date from March, it has now been moved up to January from here on out. FDR must address banking issues very quickly. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our presentation. I wanted to make sure we added one more thing. Let me stop sharing my screen really quickly. Now, as I said, most people are going to think that FDR is going to be the reason that the Great Depression is going to end. For the most part, we start seeing a recovery, but we don't actually have the Great Depression ending until World War II, which is our next unit of study. So like I said, I want you to finish adding this information into your notes. And then for the rest of our class period, in week 16, you have a crossword puzzle which is due, and that needs to be turned in by the end of today. Again, also as soon as you finish your notes, you should be done. I'm going to give you until Sunday to turn in your notes if you still have some that you need to add to it, but your notes are due, and we will be getting a new set of notes starting on Monday with our beginning of World War II.